Haman went forth that day from the banquet, joyful and glad of heart. But when Haman saw Mardochai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor trembled from him, he was filled with wrath against Mardochai. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and went home. And he sent and fetched his friends, and Zeresh his woman. And Haman recounted to them the glory of his riches, and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said moreover, Yea, Esther the queen caused not anyone to come with the king to the banquet that she had prepared, but myself, and tomorrow also am I invited by her, together with the king. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mardochai the Yehudi sitting at the king's gate. Then said Zeresh his woman, and all his friends to him, Let a gallows be made 50 cubits high, and in the morning speak thou to the king, that Mardochai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king to the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made. Esther chapter 6. On that night the king's sleep fled from him, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mardochai had told of Bagathana and Taresh, two of the king's chamberlains, of those that kept the threshold, who had sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, What honor and dignity hath been bestowed on Mardochai for this? Then said the king's servants that served to him, There is nothing done for him. And the king said, Who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house, to speak to the king, to hang Mardochai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servants said to him, Behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, Let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said to him, What shall be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now Haman said in his heart, To whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? And Haman said to the king, For the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let royal apparel be brought, which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and on the head of which a crown royal is set. And let the apparel and the horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they array the man therewith, whom the king delighteth to honor, and cause him to ride on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Then the king said to Haman, Make thou haste, take thou the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mardochai the Yehudi, that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mardochai, and caused him to ride through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. And Mardochai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house, mourning and having his head covered. And Haman recounted to Zeresh his woman and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his woman to him, If Mardochai, before whom thou hast begun to fall, be of the seed of the Yehudim, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him. While they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hasted to bring Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared.